Hi, this is the Tampa Natives Show, and I'm Dory Antonori, but you probably know me as Hello Dory. You know, the phones are getting ready to ring. So I'm going to go to my desk to grab these calls. In the meantime, you get ready to call in because the Tampa Natives Show starts right now.
Otra vez. I remember Tampa, the way she used to be, the places we would run to, the faces we would see. Yes, I remember Tampa, those precious memories, a city rising on the move, a simple yet progressive groove. I remember Tampa, and she remembers me. Yeah. She remembers me.
Welcome to the Tampa Natives Show. Stay tuned now for the fastest 60 minutes in cable broadcast history. Live from the studios at TBCN, the home of the Tampa Natives Show. Join your hosts, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella, as they celebrate growing up in Tampa. From Shock Armstrong to Shakey's Pizza, from Braddock Street to Buffalo Avenue. Get ready to call in and tell us your stories, because sharing your memories has never been this much fun. And now, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella.
She remembers me.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Tampa Natives Show. You know, it's the only show of its kind on television anywhere, where on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, we come together to talk about Tampa, growing up in Tampa when it was just about that big. Hi, my name is Mario Nunez, and I'm seated alongside my co-host and partner,
Steve Canella,
a.k.a. Tampa Steve, and over here to my right,
Sally Nunez,
a.k.a. the 15-Minute Girl. We've got a great show for you lined up tonight.
do.
And we have a great show lined up for you every
Thursday
single
night.
Thursday. So
Yes.
tonight's going to be no exception. But we do have an exceptional guest tonight, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Andy Huse, who is the USF librarian, Tampa Library Special Collections. And I tell you, Andy knows just about everything there is to know about that University of South Florida library. And what's neat is that, you know, he's one of those rare folks that wasn't born here in Tampa, but got here as quick as he could, and once he got here, fell in love with our history. Steve, what do we know about him?
you know, well, first of all, he oversees an amazing collection of Tampa treasures.
Yes.
And he's from Chicago. I'm not sure. We'll ask him in a minute how long he's been here. But one thing I've noticed, just what you said, people that come here that are not originally from here, we're finding so many are drawn to our rich, heritage and culture and our history. And Suzanne Prier, she's been here about 7 years.
Yes.
With Preservation
Preservation
Inc., right?
Yep.
She did a documentary on the history of Seminole Heights.
Correct.
And she's not even from here. So, I mean, that kind of gives you, it says a lot about our history and our heritage, really.
Says a lot about Tampa.
And
Says a lot about Tampa.
It's
Yes.
exactly right.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So we'd like to welcome at this time our new fans, because we're picking up fans each and every week. We'd like to also welcome back those people that are with us every week. Those tried and true fans. And we'll talk to Andy about that in just a few minutes.
Right.
Because you got to know, the Tampa Native Show is something very, very special. And we found that out, Steve, over almost the last 2 years that we've been on the air.
Yeah.
We've just
That long?
Yep. September 1st will be
amazing.
2 years. We keep gathering momentum, gathering steam. We'd like to go ahead and say a great big thank you at this time, like we always do, to our sponsors without whom their generosity, this show would not exist.
That's
And
right.
of course, our personal contributors as well, that always open up their checkbooks whenever we need them to, and thank goodness for that. On last Friday, I made a quick stop by PJ Testa's office because he called the show last week, if you remembered.
Yeah.
And of course, PJ is all things to the Tampa Native Show. He's one of our biggest fans. He reaffirmed his love and affection and told us, Mario, whatever you need, you can count on me. So I told him, PJ, write me a check. He said he would. So I'll go by there on Monday to pick that up.
Any amount, right? Blank check?
Blank check,
Okay.
blank check. And on Saturday, we stopped by Amarillo Sandwiches and More, and we
Yeah.
celebrated with Juan and Amy
That was
there.
fun.
And
2 years.
A lot of new friends.
Yeah.
2 years they've been in business right there on Tampa Bay, just a half a block east of Himes Avenue, right by Raymond James. Boy, the house was packed. It was standing room only. We got to meet third generation Tampa natives
Kelly?
Kelly Carr?
Kelly, yes, and her mom, Joan Chimino, was there, and
Yes.
they shared with us some wonderful pictures,
yeah.
and we've got some of
Stories.
them to show in just a little while, some stories. Rosemary Durant was there, Debbie was there too, so
It was fun.
we had a
A lot
great
of fun.
time. We had a great time. The Abinis were there also.
And congratulations to Amaryllis.
Come on, 2
Yes.
years.
2 years.
2 years and going strong, man, and their business is growing. They're
Yeah.
not slowing down one bit. So that was on Saturday. Then Monday, bring you up to speed. Well, here's our Little Peeps update.
Yes.
On Monday, we had the occasion to take Little Peeps in for his second checkup. And those of you that know who Little Peeps is, that's our 9-week-old kitty. We took him to North Bay Animal Hospital out there on Hillsborough, just west of Waters. And lo and behold, after about 15 minutes of talking with the veterinarian, it comes to light. I've got my Tampa Native shirt on. It comes to light that
course.
he sees the shirt and he says, "Hey man, what's all this Tampa Native Show business about? You know, I'm a Tampa Native." So I gave him the test, Stevie. I told him, I said, "Hey, where'd you go to high school, sir?" He said, "Well, I went to Hillsborough High School." And I said, "Well, you passed the first test right away." And I said, "What year did you graduate?" And he said, "I graduated in 1974. And I said, "Well, wait a minute then. You must know a gentleman who's been taking care of our teeth, me and the 15-minute girl, for the last 13 years. A gentleman by the name of Dr. Bill Geyer." He says, "Of course
Who
I
we
know
saw
Bill
today.
Geyer." We saw him today. And
Yeah.
he also said he knew Ricky T. Parnell
Yeah.
and Simon Canassi, which was all Hillsborough class of 74, which illustrates the point, Stevie, just how small
Yes.
Tampa
And
is.
his mother was my biology teacher, marine biology teacher.
I remember
Mrs.
you
Geyer?
saying that.
Mrs. Geyer.
Yeah,
Isn't
I
that
remember you
amazing?
saying
Well,
that.
you know, it just goes to show you. They say 6 degrees of separation, we say bunk. That's probably more like 1 degree of separation. Anyway, we're hoping that he's watching tonight. That's Dr. Timothy Lassett, Dr. Tim Lassett.
Great veterinarian.
Tremendous veterinarian.
Very
and
nice
he's out there.
man.
He's out there hopefully watching tonight. So to you, Dr. Tim, and the staff, welcome to the show.
Speaking of Little Peeps, did they do a CAT scan on him?
Of course they did. And you know what? Little
Bad
Peeps
jokes,
was
sorry.
real good. He got one of those injections
He
there for his
was.
feline
It was
leukemia.
really good.
And he took it like a
He
champ.
didn't make a pee.
No, he didn't. So that was Monday. And then just yesterday, catching up real quick. Now, yesterday we had the occasion to go out to Brandon
Yeah.
and have breakfast with Ronnie Fernandez at La Septima Cafe. We knew his lunches were tremendous. His lunches and his dinners were tremendous.
Yeah.
Well, now we find out his breakfasts are no less fantastic. And, of course, Ronnie was generous, and as he always is, and he bestowed upon us this wonderful little artifact that someone had made for him. And he had like 2 or 3 of them there. And of course, I put on my sad face and I said, "Ronnie, do you think you could part with one of these?" And he said, "Take it, Mario, take it with you." So, Ronnie, it's going to be on our set. Nothing more indicative than an Ybor City street lamp
Right.
to denote our history here as the Tampa Natives Show. And
It's perfect.
And it's part of our logo. So, Ronnie, thank you.
They were
thousand
Thank
taking
you.
very good care of it.
thousand thank yous for that. That will travel
Yeah.
with us wherever we go, and it'll certainly be on our show. And then after that, after leaving Ronnie's wonderful establishment, we
We're
went-
busy, aren't we?
Wow, we went right down the
gonna say.
street. We went right down the street, and we went and visited a young lady. Well, we had met her previously at Brocado's the week before, but we visited with her on this particular day. I won't tell you who she is, but I'll tell you who her father was. Okay? And I don't want to spoiler alert. Her father was a gentleman by the name of Señor Segundo Argudo. Segundo Argudo. For those of you Tampa natives, now I don't want you to go to that Google machine and Google this stuff. Now that's no fair. You got to know who it is, and we'll ask you in a little bit when you make your calls and see if you can tell us who this gentleman is. Very significant business he started here in Tampa, and his daughter is going to be our guest next week on the show.
And we may have a clue later on, right?
Oh, we're going to have a big clue, but I think somebody's going to come up
gonna
with
be a giveaway.
I think somebody's going to come up with the answer to that beforehand. Now you see here, and just today, of course, we mentioned earlier. Just today, we saw Dr.
Dr.
Geyer,
Geyer.
Dr. Bill Geyer. So, hello to the staff, to Trish, to Becky, to Candy, to Lori, and to Anthony. Hi, guys. We saw you
Thanks.
today, and thanks for keeping our teeth so beautifully healthy and clean, and clean, and no pain.
Yeah.
All right. If you see these hats here on the table, you see this one University of South Florida hat. I'm going to ask Eric if he'll be so kind as to bring up that graphic that we showed University of South Florida and the Rays graphic. Stevie, if you want to hold up that hat too and
Sure,
point it
certainly.
right there at the 3-shot camera so everybody can see it. USF night, the 5th annual USF night there you go, at the Trop. Rays versus the Orioles. That's Saturday, August 4th. Now, we need a minimum of 20 folks. We came a little bit short on our last game this past Saturday against the Mariners. But we figure we're going to get 20 folks. If you'd like to join us, we're going to go. They're going to honor USF. They're going to wear these special hats. They're going to give them away. The players are going to wear them. And they're going to give these away to the Tampa Natives group as we show up there in numbers to support. You know, they lost today to the Orioles, but they won 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
So they're on their
Good.
way. They're in the hunt. Longoria might be back by next week. So, hey, if you'd like to
hope
join
so.
us, you know what to do. Call that comment line. Stevie, give him that number.
All right, what is that number?
I do this every week. 813-920. There it is on your. Give them to us, Stevie. Look at it on the
There it
monitor
is.
right there.
508.
Yeah, 920-2508.
Yeah,
Yeah.
813-920-2508. Call the comment line. Say, hey, Mario, save me 2, save me 4 tickets. I want to go with you guys. First 20 that call in, we're going to go all together. And we're going to invite Andy to come with us
Yeah.
as well.
You know, I had that written down, but I changed papers. So, oh well. Next
One
week
more
I'll have it
shout
done.
out, one more shout out, then we'll bring Andy in. I've got to tell you that just today I found out one of my high school classmates, he graduated class of 74, Jefferson High School, a gentleman by the name of Charles Martin he goes by today, or I like to call him Carlos Martin. His abuelita, a lady by the name of Mercedes Ladis, today turned 100 years young.
Wow.
That's Mercedes
Pretty
Ladis.
amazing.
So if you would
Siento.
indulge me for just a minute, I'd like to offer this to Abuelita Mercedes. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Abuelita Mercedes. Happy birthday to you. And many more. 100 years old today.
Congratulations.
So,
Happy
Charlie, you're so
birthday.
fortunate to have your Abuelita still here, man.
She
And
looks great.
She looks
too. I
great.
saw
Love
the
her up. Her
picture.
picture was on Facebook
Beautiful
today.
lady.
So, Tampa native, born here in 1912.
That is amazing.
Isn't that
100.
amazing? 100.
That's
So
quite
it
a
can be
marker.
done.
Yeah.
So it can be done.
Now,
if you're out there thinking you can't get to 100, yes, you can.
Yeah, speaking
Take
of
care
history,
of yourself. Surround yourself with family, with love, and I think if you laugh a little bit every day,
yeah.
Stevie, that's
A lot.
probably a big
Yeah.
recipe for it as well.
you know, that's very important. Less stress. But speaking of history, look how much history she's seen over the years.
Wow.
How
When you
much
think about
change.
it. From the horse and
Yeah.
buggy to the
Yeah.
space shuttle, you know.
And all of it right here,
and,
man.
And all in between.
Tampa native.
Yeah.
Tampa native. Well, thank you for indulging us here at the top of the show. We needed to get some of those things behind us and get it out of the way. But now, if you would be so gracious, Mr. Technical Director, and bring up that 4-shot. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce to you tonight's guest of honor,
Andy.
Mr. Andy Huse. Andy, say hello to everybody.
Hello. My pleasure to be here.
Welcome in.
Stevie,
And-
tell everybody a little bit about Andy. What you don't tell them, Andy will fill in the gaps.
Definitely will. Well, the title really, the actual title is Librarian, USF Tampa Library Special Collections. Is that right, Andy?
That's right.
And what, you know, we met you the other night, and the three of us were totally fascinated with the special collections, things you found there. There was old newspaper articles from the 1920s, rows and rows of videos and pictures and collections, Tony Pizzo, Leland Hawes. I mean, how did this happen? How did you go? Well, first of all, tell us when you got here.
Well, I was born in Chicago, and my family moved to Clearwater when I was about 5 years old in 1979. And I was lucky enough to grow up in Pinellas County when there were still green places to play in. And then I came over here in '95 to come to USF. And immediately, you contrast Clearwater with Tampa, and it's like night and day. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Clearwater has no downtown. There's not much of a really respect for the history there.
Yeah.
You come to Tampa, and the stories just kind of come out of the brick almost. I mean, it's very, very rich, and I immediately knew I was in the right place when I got here to Tampa. And
It's that feeling.
it is. It reminded me of Chicago. Going back to Chicago, I'd go every summer to see family and stuff, and it's just that, I don't know, that vibe, that feeling.
energy,
Yeah.
that energy.
And then also this idea that Tampa is somehow unknowable too.
Right.
That there's a lot of secrets, there's a
Yeah.
lot of history that's gone down with people. So it's I find it just a really fascinating place. There's a lot of layers, like peeling back an onion
Yes.
or something.
Yeah.
Great culture, great history. Steve's great-grandparents came here from San Stefano. My grandmother came here from Cuba back in the late 1800s, and it's just been building and building and building ever since. And we talk about the Tampa's history, a lot of it, of course, being of the notorious flavor, and a lot of it being infamous in some ways, many
Kinda
ways.
like Chicago.
And I was going to say that at some point in our history, there were so many
Yeah.
unsolved murders on the books here in Tampa that Tampa actually acquired the moniker Little Chicago.
Chicago,
That's
yes.
right.
So when you say that they're sort of a kindred spirit between the two cities, it's obvious.
Yes.
It's present, and I think in a lot of ways, not just in the in the underworld and the history that went with all of that, but also in the work ethic, man. Because Chicago was a pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of town.
Absolutely.
Big union town.
Yeah.
You know, people work, man. And the same in Tampa. There was no shortage of work here going on as well. So,
some similarities.
Thank you so much for being with us here tonight. It's a pleasure meeting you. As we go forward, we know that this relationship that we have and that we're starting now to develop with the University of South Florida is only going to flourish. Steve mentioned this in pre-production this week, and you know, we feel like in a lot of ways we've stolen the keys to the vault, because now we're going to have access to some incredible artifacts of our history. And then Steve turned it around on him. He said, you know, Mario, at the same time, consider the fact that we're going to be offering content also to the University of South Florida. So as we walk the path together, we're going to be able to offer these shows to them, which they will then house and archive on their website into perpetuity. So we're building a history together, which is really, really neat. And of course, everything that USF brings to bear, we'll benefit from. So it's a very mutual thing. Yeah, we stole the keys to the vault, but at the same time, man, they're going to be standing there going, what'd you bring us this week, man? What'd you bring us this week?
You know, because we're always getting different pictures from our fans.
We are.
Sure.
You know, on the Facebook page. So,
and this would be a good time to make an appeal for your calls. If you have a question for Andy, we're going to start talking about the photographs, the ones that you see up there behind us. Go ahead and get by your phones now would be the time to call. 977-6800, 813. If you're out of town, you got to dial the 813 anyway, man. It's a cellular world we're living in. But go ahead and make those calls now. Call us, give us your Bolita drawing number, because we're going to be doing that like we do each and every week. If you've got a question specifically for Andy that he can answer, he'll certainly try to. Where was I going? I had something that I was going to say that was magnificent, and it flew in, and then it
we'll have
flew
a question
out,
for Andy in the
just like
meantime.
it does on live TV. Go, Stevie,
Well-
pick me up.
well, Andy, how did you get into the library? I mean, what brought you from Tampa to USF Library and to the special collection?
Well, I came to USF initially. I was an English major at first, hated it. So I changed it to history after one semester, and I never looked back. I mean, from then on, it was like I was just totally bit by the bug. You know, writing fiction was a fun exercise, but for me, writing history was rewarding on so many of different levels. So, you know, I finished that and was kind of not sure what I was going to do. I got my master's degree. I was really lucky to work under Gary Mormino, who's over in USF St. Pete now. He's just about to retire. And he really helped, you know, get me interested in Tampa history too. And then Ray Arsenault, who wrote the Freedom Riders book, and although he's not so much a Tampa historian, really helps, you know, get me involved. And really, the first paper that I wrote on Tampa was all about food in Tampa. I wanted to do something that other people hadn't really explored yet. So, you know, people have talked about civil rights and the cigar workers and everything else, but for me, the food was really an unexplored area. So that's where I started to get into that. And Ray Arsenault is he's a great lover of food, and a lot of other professors would have been infuriated because I turned in like a 55-page paper for the semester. And nobody wants to read that much, but when it's about food, somehow it's okay. So I found that, you know, food is a very forgiving subject. It's also a subject where, you know, if you don't want to get directly into, you know, controversial issues, food is a great entree, you know, to get you in there.
No pun intended.
No,
Yes,
exactly.
to talk about a lot of serious things. So, you know, people tend to think, oh, if he's writing about food, it's going to be lightweight somehow. Much to the contrary. You can talk about race, class, ethnicity. All those things are all bound up in food. So.
Everybody comes together with food. You know, you had them at food.
Yeah,
basically.
and really, so over the course of about 10 years, I just started exploring food in Tampa and learned the story of the city along the way.
What an amazing, nuanced way to discover, uncover, and report a history
Isn't that true?
through food.
Yeah.
Let's go to our first caller, and then we'll come back and touch on that some of your writings.
Okay.
Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Big Mike from Orlando.
Hey,
Big Mike.
How are
Where
you?
you been?
Yeah, great. Doing good over here. I've been missing the last few shows, but I just want to make it short, quick. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of calls tonight.
Good.
It says on the screen Adam. I don't know if it's Adam or Andy.
Andy.
But I just wanted to officially welcome you to the Tampa Natives Familia.
There you go.
And as you know, these guys work diligently and hard to do everything about Tampa, keep the tradition alive, which is very important. And 2 years almost, and they haven't given up. And you know, it's just a terrific thing to expand everything else and give the resources more resources that they need and to keep this thing going because it's terrific and I love them all.
Big Mike, we love you too, man. We love you
miss
too,
you, Mike.
and we miss you. We're so thankful that you called tonight. When I heard in my little earpiece here, because hello, Dory, she's got me by the ear, so to speak. She said, "Big Mike on line 4," and I said, "Oh, there's my brother." He hadn't called in a couple of weeks, but we know you're working. So, you know, we know you missed the live shows, but you can always catch them on our website, of course, in replay. Did you have any kind of a question for Mr. Huse, Andy, or just wanted to lay that wonderful comment on us, man?
I'm sorry, I got a little bit late. But, yeah, I do. I have my ex-mother-in-law. He worked at the library there at USF, retired for many years. Jewel, her last name is Huse, and not H-U-S-E. Don't know if Adam knows her at all. But I called her up to tell her to watch it, and she's not feeling too well, but she just retired recently. So
Okay.
Another thing, I picked number 63 because of Leroy Selman, University of South Florida.
Yes.
Sure.
Lead a number, and the question about a little bit off the thing about this guy Segundo. Is it too early for me to tell something?
Oh, he
No.
knows.
If you know, this is, you know. But we want to know unequivocally. You did not go to the Google machine for this.
No, man, you kidding me? Right away, I said I'm calling in this one. Okay.
Go ahead.
I don't know if it's the same Segundo, but I'm guessing it is. But I don't remember his last name. Is it the guy that's responsible for Chief List?
Yes.
Where's the bell?
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. As you can see here, camera one, these are the cassava chips. All right, these are the yuca chips, if you will.
Cheapest.
Behind me here, you'll see the classic platanito chips.
Oh, yeah.
They're in green, so they're keying out. Of course, they're keying out. But no self-respecting Ybor City or child of West Tampa would dare take a lunch to school without a little bag of Chief List.
did. Elementary
Mariquitas,
school.
as they're called.
Here are some pork rinds.
I didn't know they had those.
What holiday season would be complete without the chicharrones? So yes, Mike, you absolutely hit it on the head. We took a tour of the plant on Tuesday. No,
And we
Wednesday,
have
forgive
some
me.
plantains
Yep, and
now.
we have plenty of samples.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a wonderful show. Stephanie, Segundo's daughter, is going to
Very
be
nice
with us
lady.
next week. So we're going to be talking all things Chief List. Thank you for that, brother. You did it well.
Good job,
You did it
Mike.
Good
well.
job.
Let
Congrats,
me a little
Mike.
bit further. I got a little bit of history with this.
Good.
Cool.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My father owned the company, sold it to him for $2,000 when it was on Howard Avenue.
Oh, wow.
My father would chop them up by hand because he couldn't buy the machines. He got an order from Cash and Carry to mass produce these things. And at that point, when we just moved into the house in West Tampa, he didn't know what to do, didn't have the money to buy the machines. Well, Segundo bought the machines, and he moved to the old shop on 22nd Street.
Right.
Then he opened up the big plant. So my father used to cut them by hand and put them in a 55-gallon drum of grease, fish them out with like a damn net.
Oh my!
That's amazing.
Well, we saw the operation
Oh,
yesterday,
cool.
Mike, and it's very streamlined
Yeah.
now, and it's compact,
Yeah.
and they produce and produce and produce. It's
Smells great in there.
you know, listen, make sure that you, if you can, call in next week because I'm sure Stephanie would love to hear
Yeah.
what you have to
Absolutely.
say.
Yes, I'd love to. And, you know, we went to his house and met him once, and my father always told him, segundo, yo primero, they bought their own banana plantation. Oh, yeah, long history with that.
From Ecuador, directly
Yep.
from Ecuador, and their story is going to be tremendous as
It
well.
is.
Thanks for calling, Mike. We appreciate it.
I love you.
Love you too,
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike.
Thank you. That's Big Mike, our Orlando correspondent.
Okay,
He
nice.
calls all the time.
And
Go ahead.
she's got a lot of great pictures too.
She
Stephanie.
does.
No,
Yeah,
and
amazing
that-
pictures.
that's for next week, but just be sure that you're with us next week because we were fascinated, captivated. Father from, I think it's safe to say, the jungles of Ecuador.
Yeah.
Very
Remote.
humble,
Yes.
remote, very humble
Yeah.
beginnings to his life. Her mom from North Carolina, a very small town in North Carolina, how those two contrasting worlds got together.
Yeah.
Anybody's guess. And of course, the Chief List company was born
Landmark.
here in Tampa. And you know, again, real quickly, how cool was it as a kid to take your lunch to school and be able to turn that bag around and look at it and go, you know, product made in Tampa, Florida. And we didn't have too many things back then that we could hang a star on, man. So Chief List was one of them.
We felt proud.
Very, very proud.
did.
It was a proud thing.
It
Very
was.
good. Let's go to our next caller, Steve.
Let's do it. Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, good evening. This is Hugh from South Tampa.
Hi, Hugh from South Tampa.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Did have a question. Not too long ago, I was at the Plant Museum at the University of Tampa.
Sure.
And one of the displays is an awesome pictorial display with a narrative of how the hotel came into being.
Mm-hmm.
And it pictured Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Rider, staying at the hotel with the troops and the generals and everything. And I was just wondering how many, or if you have quite a few pictures of that period as well. When the Spanish-American War was.
We don't have any tonight in pre-production. We didn't see any of those pictures. We didn't bring any of those with us. We do have some of those, and we have seen some of those. Andy, you've seen them as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've got a lot of a variety of different pictures and books, materials on it, as well as old menus.
Oh, cool.
Really garbled
From the
French.
HB Plant Tampa Bay Hotel back then.
Yeah, from the old days. Yeah,
Right.
Oh, I want to see that.
And actually, we have a really great Spanish-American War collection as well.
Wow.
Lots and lots of old books, all from the period. Most of which are kind of really crass propaganda pieces.
Sure.
But then there's a lot of really neat stuff in there too. And of course, Tampa was a really important place. It was a real disaster for soldiers, like it was very disorganized when they got here. It had nothing to do with Tampa. It had everything to do with the Pentagon. Well, what would become the Pentagon, the War Department.
The War Department.
But it was just complete chaos. And I remember Teddy and the Rough Riders, I mean, they forced their way onto a ship they had no business being on because they wanted to get to Cuba that bad.
Yeah. And they probably wanted to get the hell out of here, too.
That
it was
too,
probably
yeah.
a mess.
That'd be so
And
hot.
the mosquitoes and the wool
it was
uniforms.
so hot,
and,
yeah. And really, the War Department should have waited until it cooled off.
Yeah.
Instead they're sending troops over there in July, late June, early July, just when malaria is starting and everything. Big disaster. And that's why we had so many casualties from disease.
And of course,
we just couldn't wait, I think they were afraid that Cuba might fall in the meantime or give in to the rebels, and that's a very complex issue right there.
they had to get down there.
Sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Well, Hugh, you got a bolita drawing number
Great
for us?
question.
Number 43.
43 for you, correct. And Hugh, I didn't get the chance to ask this question a little bit earlier to Big Mike from Orlando, but I'll ask you. You get the benefit of this. Our question of the day is simply this. Do you remember the original mascot of the University of South Florida?
Oh, of South Florida? I'm just thinking of the bull. That's all I'm thinking.
That's all you're thinking of, a bull?
Yeah.
Well, I wish I could ring the bell saying that you were correct, but you're not correct. Because it was a specific kind of bull. But we'll leave it at that, Hugh. Thanks for calling, my brother. We appreciate it. We've been missing your calls.
Yeah, I had to go to a dinner last week, but I saw it on the DVR.
Okay,
Good.
wonderful. Well, we'll be here each and every week. And next week, we're talking Chiefless. This week, we're talking Andy Huse.
Great. We appreciate it.
Thank you, my
Thanks,
brother.
Hugh.
Yeah, great call.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, you as well. Now, let's talk a little bit about
Yes.
this book that we're holding here. We had...
I'm getting hungry now.
Yep, we had Richard Gunsmart on the show in our first season. He was our lone sponsor in the first season of production, and wonderfully generous man that he is. Of course, his family legacy is, goes very deep here.
Yes.
You helped co-author this book, is that correct? Or did you just write the foreword? Talk to me a little bit
No,
about this
I wrote the book. But
All right.
Richard really helped
Hold that over there in front
get
of
the
Andy so
family
everyone can see
involved. Yeah, he got the family involved. He really opened a lot of doors for me in the course of doing my research. So I wrote the book, but you'll see, there's a lot of quotations by Richard and the rest of the family in here. So they were all involved. But it was me to kind of piece it all together and try to make it organized and break it up into pieces that are bite-sized pieces, so to speak. So you can read for a couple pages and you finished a chapter.
It's a great book.
Well, when we had Richard on the show that night, we gave this away as one of the prizes
Yeah. We
did
for
indeed.
the Bolita drawing.
We did
It was
indeed.
autographed by
He signed
by
it?
Richard. Yeah, that was fantastic.
You remember who won?
Oh, I forgot who.
Come
Oh, I
on.
can't remember. Was it Hugh?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
He's
I
very
know.
lucky.
I know.
I don't know. Give me a hint.
Dun, 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 dun,
I know,
dun,
really.
dun,
Where's the music when we need it?
dun, dun. I think she may have something to do with cleaning your teeth.
Oh, Tanya
Oh,
Russo.
that's
Tanya Russo.
That's right.
That's
Okay, that's right.
How did you not remember that?
My dental hygienist. How could I?
Tanya Russo. Now I'll ring the
I haven't
bell.
been there in a while.
I got it right. Look, I got it right.
So many
Well,
shows.
one other thing I wanted to point out is the library really did kind of play a role in that too. That we have an oral history program, so all the interviews that I did for the book were transcribed. They're all up online. So the unedited, unvarnished interviews are up there.
That's cool.
With the Gonsmar family, with
neat.
like Joe Roman. He's been a waiter there for over 50 years.
Yeah.
A bunch of people.
The singing waiter. Joe's nickname was the singing waiter.
Oh yeah, still singing.
Yeah, my father worked
Yeah.
with Joe Roman. Mike Baluja's father worked with Joe Roman.
Yeah.
There were so many waiters that came and went because Joe was there forever, man. I think Joe was the first waiter that was inducted into the Hall of Fame, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but I believe Joe was the first one.
And I
He
know
was-
his son.
Okay.
Joe Jr.
Well, again,
Yeah.
1 degree of separation.
Yeah.
Can we talk a second, just real quick second about that picture there? Some people might be interested. Take us out for just a quick second on this photo, Eric. Talk about that, Stevie.
Well, that's a Centro Estudiano, the Clínica.
La Clínica del Centro Estudiano,
right? That's the clinic, I believe so.
So you think maybe there might have been a person or two that might be watching our show that could have been born there?
I would say
building?
there's
Probably more
probably
than a
quite
few.
a few. Absolutely.
A birth, an illness.
Or had a relative who was right
You
born
had,
there.
had to have your leg or your ankle set there because you fell off your bike. Perhaps when you lost one of your grandparents, or your grandparents passed away there. I mean, that hospital was vital and integral to so much going on in Ybor City back in those days. There was like La Clínica Treyes. There was also the other hospital that escapes me right
there was
now.
the Gonzalez.
Gonzalez Clinic,
Gonzalez
thank you,
Clinic.
Gonzalez Clinic. Dory, you can chime in if I forget in there and you're in the booth.
That-
you can
that's-
yell at me in my earpiece. I'll be okay with that.
This is a show in itself, by the way.
Well, then
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about this. I just wanted to show that because I know there might be some people out there going, "Oh my God, I haven't seen that image
Yeah.
in 50 years," and it might just spark somebody's imagination. Pick up the phone and give us a call. Operators are standing by.
And by the way-
Dory needs something to do.
Oh, by the way, this picture and all the pictures you're seeing tonight all came from the USF Library's the special collection. From the, I think it's called the Coral. Is that the name of the actual search engine? It's called the Coral, right?
Yes, called Coral.
Is there a website or an email address, not an email address, I guess a website address that they
yeah,
can go
the
to?
URL?
Give that to them.
I have it right here. It's www.lib, short for library, so lib.usf.edu. From there, you could find the special collections from there.
Look at
Yeah, it's up in the top right corner.
Perfect.
And if you click on special collections, Coral is one of the things in the
Coral.
drop-down tab.
Look at that technical director, Eric Cups. Is he on his game, man? As you're saying the email address, the website URL, there it is on your screen.
It's just
Thank you
all
for
lowercase.
that,
That's
Eric.
the only difference.
All
Okay.
lowercase. All lowercase.
And the special collections also has a YouTube channel, so you can actually go up on YouTube and see some of the videos. Can they find that from the webpage? From the USF.edu?
No, I think you just go into YouTube and you can search for USF Libraries,
There you
all
go.
one word,
There you
and
go.
libraries is plural. And you can go there and if you click on it, you get all the different content. And one of these days we ought to share one of those videos. One in particular was really neat. We found footage from the 1930s of an old march.
Oh.
All these women marching
Like
against-
suffragettes.
yeah.
Like suffragettes.
Oh yeah,
women.
yeah, but
Okay.
it was
That would
they
be
were marching
great.
against fascism, and they were marching for equal rights in the WPA workshops
Right here in Tampa.
right here in
7th
Tampa.
Avenue?
That would be
Yep, right
great.
down 7th. I mean, you see the lamppost in the background.
Oh,
and
that's
everything.
cool.
gotta
We
see
need
that.
to see
So,
that.
yeah,
see
it's,
that.
there's
You
no
know-
sound to it, but the video that we put up, myself and Paul Camp, now a retired librarian, we narrate it to try to contextualize it for you so you can understand what's going on.
That would be
I'd love to
that would
see
be a
that.
gem, and we're going to show that. We're going to show that at some time. Let's go ahead and get to the next picture because I know there's. Now we talked about this. We've shown this picture before, and you mentioned when we were looking at the pictures before we went on the air, Andy. This one in particular, you were.
Oh yeah, I love
took
that
fancy
picture.
to.
Yeah.
Tell us what you know about this particular picture.
All I know about is outside the El Pasaje, obviously.
Look at that street lamp again.
Yeah, well,
There's that street lamp. It's everywhere.
Oh yeah. And that
Now
was
we've got one on our
once
table.
the Cherokee Club, so that was for the well-heeled, the cigar producers. That's where they went to eat and drink. And even Henry Plant, when he wasn't hanging out at the Plant Hotel, he would come out to the Cherokee Club to hang out and have drinks.
I bet they had nice-
Imagine it was probably there's horseless carriages going on there. There's the
Oh, yeah.
early cars,
Was
right?
that the
Yeah.
usual dress for the women in the picture, or was that something
It looks like
special?
there's a fiesta going on.
Some
Yeah.
people in Latin
Yeah,
American
there's
fiesta.
something like a
some-
dress.
yep. Some kind of a
Absolutely.
special show.
With those headdresses and everything, there's something that's going on.
Absolutely. And here, look at this picture here. Steve, we
Well-
talked about this the other day.
Well, this is the five and dime store, Ybor City.
Ybor City.
And what I mentioned to Mari the other night, and this is just my own feeling, Andy, maybe if you know, you can jump in, but
Please.
it looks like the Woolworth five and dime, font and the lettering and the sign. You think it possibly
Sort of like a
that
masthead on a
maybe-
newspaper.
Yeah,
It's kind of the classic.
like at some point maybe Woolworth bought
And is
the
silver
company
short
out.
for Silverstein or
Maybe.
Silverberg?
It
I mean, I
just-
know we had, we talk about the Cubans, we talk about the Spaniards, we talk about the Italians here, the Sicilians specifically. But then there were the Germans and the Jewish people that were here as well. So, our mercantiles were primarily from our Jewish brothers and sisters that were here at the time.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, if it was a change of a name. I could always look it up and see what the name of the proprietor was. Could very well be the proprietor changed his name too to Silver.
Correct.
That could be too.
Correct.
Yeah, you see that a lot.
And when they came through Ellis Island, of course, there were always subtle changes made.
Oh yeah, that's how I got my name.
Isn't that so? Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Tell us live and on TV what your name was and what job.
I don't even know how it was spelled. It was pronounced something like Huse. It was a German, and it got changed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He couldn't spell it, so he said, Huse, man, you're going to be Huse.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah, they just changed it. They're like, all right, that's your new name. So.
Look at this Florida brewery here.
We know that's how Antonino Andolini got his name, right? You from, boy?
Oh.
Corleone. Okay, you're Don Corleone. That's what your name is. Well, we got two.
got
All of a
calls.
sudden, we got two callers. We must have hit a nerve with somebody. I think Don
Maybe
Corleone.
It's the Iceworks picture.
That's a neat
That is.
picture
I like
there
that
as well.
picture.
You can still see the
Horse-drawn
logo at the
carriage.
top.
And that building is still here.
It's still there.
Steve.
You can still see Florida Brewing on the side of the building.
That building is still here today. And that
What
picture.
street is that?
That's on. Well, it's on. It's I think it's 5th or 6th Avenue.
Okay.
Okay.
It kind of goes to a point. I don't know what the other street is. I'm not sure, but it's right. I think it's 6th or 5th Avenue.
That's right now. Frank Costantino's screaming at the TV because she knows exactly where that
She's
building
probably-
is.
That's a really cool
probably
building.
All right, call her. Go ahead.
Caller,
Steve.
you're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Eddie Trujillo calling from Tampa.
Hey, Eddie Trujillo, how are you?
How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Great,
Good.
great to hear from you. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I was calling because I was born in Gonzales Clinic that you mentioned a little while
There you
ago.
go.
We did hit a nerve.
We figured somebody would be
Yeah.
calling in and tell us they were born in either Gonzales or sure,
More
of
than
course.
a few, I'm sure.
And many visits to Centro Suriano Clinic also as a kid.
Absolutely.
And you were talking about the Gunsmar and the Columbia restaurant. And my dad worked there for like 25 years as a chef.
Oh,
That's right. That's right. That's right. Probably worked with my pop. I'm sure he did.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely, he did.
And Nati Contreras'
And
father
Juan
Juan
Contreras
Contreras.
worked there as well. It was a major employer.
Yeah,
You know,
and I
major
worked for
employer back in.
Busboy, and so did all three of my brothers.
Wow.
Growing up as kids.
How did I escape that, man? I didn't even get to. My pop didn't even take me in there one Saturday to fill salt and pepper shakers, man. I feel deprived,
You were playing
I
baseball.
guess I was running around on my bike or something, but
playing
I feel like I
baseball.
should have been in there,
That'd have been
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's funny, I didn't realize Mike Beluja, I guess he's the one that did the song.
Yes.
Mike is wonderful. Mike did
Very
the opening
talented.
credits, the closing credits.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike's.
Well, his half-sister has just come down in the last couple months from Cuba, and actually we're helping her set up into a little house here in Wellswood that she just got her husband here, and they're moving into a house. So, it's incredible how small a world that is,
Wow.
that his half-sister now has come from Cuba and is going to move into the Tampa area,
That's
too.
interesting.
Sounds like a theme for another Tampa Natives show, man.
Yeah.
I feel a good story coming on behind that.
Yeah, I figured I'd call you, and it's good talking to you now.
Eddie,
Yeah, thank you.
likewise. Thank you so much for, again, Ed Morse Cadillac
That's
for
right.
stepping up and
Absolutely.
being the conduit there to bringing their sponsorship
nice-
to the show.
Absolutely.
Giveaways.
We've given away everything that you've given to us. If you've got anything else that you might like to impart,
Mm-hmm.
we'll give it away. Listen, your prizes are among the top.
Very nice.
Very
I like
nice,
it.
man.
I like
Very
that
nice.
shirt.
The shirts, I had trouble giving it away myself because very nice. Thank you, Eddie. Can we get your bolita number for tonight?
No, that's my Bolita number?
Yeah, 1 to 75. We do a little drawing here at the end of the show, and you might just win something from Ed Morse Cadillac tonight. I don't know.
It's legal.
56 is my number.
56. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Oh yeah, do you recall what the original mascot at USF was?
The original mascot?
The original mascot.
Rocky the Bull? No, I don't know.
Okay. All right. We'll leave. I'll disclose it at the end.
All right.
It's a bull. I'll just leave it at that. It's a specific kind of bull.
Well, okay.
We'll leave it at that. Eddie, thank you so
and
much.
it's a Brahma Bull.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. It's a Brahma bull.
got
A
a
lot of
winner.
folks may not remember that because it's morphed into this bull that we see now, but the original mascot was the Brahma bull, the classic
Well, the-
white with the hump Brahma bull.
Yeah, it's
The
a
weird
golden
looking-
You know how
Brahma
to
is the
jar
name of
someone's
the.
memory, that's for sure.
The Golden Brahma is the yearbook?
Yeah, no, that was the name of the.
Yeah, actually, my
actual
wife's,
breed, the Florida breed.
Got her a master's there, actually.
There you go. No, USF, Tampa Natives, if those that didn't stray too far from home, typically we just went up there on, Fowler Avenue and close to where we are right now and took care of business.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? And this show is, Cadillac style. I like it.
All
cool.
right, all right,
Thank you.
Cadillac
That's
style.
nice.
Thank you
Very
so
nice.
much,
Thanks
Eddie.
for
You're the
calling,
best.
Eddie.
All right, Mario.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Now I can't resist
That's
adding.
Eddie Trujillo.
I can't resist adding something to the whole mascot thing.
Okay.
Please.
All right, originally they had a contest, and the students they came up with all kinds of ridiculous stuff like the fighting desert rats because everything was sandy everywhere.
Oh.
But they eventually the first winner of the contest was the Buccaneers.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Really?
And basically before they had the contest, they'd already decided they wanted to call it Golden Brahmins. But 2 votes, the Buccaneers won.
I'll be darned.
So I even have the Oracle, where they write Buccaneers the mascot.
Oh, wow.
And then a couple days later, it got, they said,
Dewey wins.
Well, Buccaneers is taken by someone, and it actually wasn't. It was the Pirates. It was up in
East Carolina?
No, it was like in the Panhandle somewhere.
Oh, okay, here in the state.
Yeah, and so they eventually changed it, and it became Golden Brahmas, and
then we had Buccaneers anyway.
yeah, and then we got the NFL
What a great
Buccaneers.
story.
But I like
story.
Golden Brahmas, man.
I do
like
like
Yeah, well, the
that.
thing is
They're kinda
that
sexy.
Yeah.
USF though has lost its way as far as, all right, the Golden Brahma has a big hump on its back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, now all the bulls that you see around campus, there's no hump.
No,
Yeah.
it looks
You
like
know?
a toro with the, like the.
Yeah, and they're not very masculine looking either.
Yeah. Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like they've
They've emasculated our Golden
they've
Brahmas.
streamlined the bull a little bit.
We'd always
Yeah, it was a very distinctive bull.
Of course
too.
it was.
You would think
Oh
they would
yeah,
wanna
it's got this
keep-
hump that's
no.
almost
Yeah.
flops to a
Yeah.
side.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know where we
Big
saw them,
white.
right?
Yeah.
The Florida State Fair.
Yeah,
Every
of
year.
course, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
And you knew when you saw it that it represented
Exactly.
South Florida.
Yeah.
Because really and truthfully, the Brahma Bull didn't get a whole lot of props anywhere else.
Yeah.
Right. We only knew it because of that. The Longhorns, of course, you know what that is. It represents immediately University of Texas.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they have stayed with that, man?
Let's bring it back.
We will screw up
Bring
a good
back
thing here
the
sometime.
Golden
Well, yeah.
You
And,
know what I
well,
mean?
the thing is I guess the person who nominated it, his roommate's father was the head of the Cattlemen's Association here in Florida,
Yeah.
and so they wanted,
Which
to
is big
get the
in
word
Florida.
out.
Of
that,
course.
that,
That-
that
that
cattle
we-
goes back much farther here
Yes.
in
Got you.
Texas.
Yes.
Got you.
I mean,
Yeah.
we were feeding Cuba long before
Yeah.
Texas was feeding
Interesting.
anyone.
Yeah.
So.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good.
know?
We learning some stuff
Little,
tonight.
little Dory's very busy right now.
Yes, she is. She's waving at us from the other side of the
Nine
window.
five.
Stevie, do what you do.
Caller, you're on the
9-5?
air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, Steve, it's Rose Durant.
Hey, Rose.
Hi,
Durant.
Hi, Rose.
Hey, good seeing you Saturday.
Hey, hi, Andy. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Hey, I wanted to tell you about the El Pasaya. My friend Alan Kahana, he owned that building. He still might. But the history of that, Sally asked about what those girls were wearing. That was a bordella.
Oh, that's what I kind of
Okay,
thought
that was
that.
their work clothes, honey.
There you go.
I didn't want to say anything.
So that must have been early
but
in the
I got
shift.
that feeling.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
anyway,
They were dressing.
just about every governor in the state of Florida had stayed at that place. So did Teddy Roosevelt
Wow.
and
Interesting.
mayors and stuff like that.
How about that?
That building has a whole history of its own. You're
It really
correct.
does.
The Cherokee
Yeah, we need to
Club
do a show
was
about
Cherokee.
that.
That's another show.
Yeah.
inside the El Pasaya
Okay.
building itself. And the guy who owned it, and I think he probably still does, his name's Alan Kahana. Him and Jack Shriver back in the early 90s really was buying up a lot of those old buildings down in Ybor when they were like, I don't know, $50 a square foot.
Yeah, pretty
They were
cheap.
so in shambles. And that's how I learned all the history of it. And the little plaque outside the building will tell you about that. But yeah, that's what that was. That was, at late nights and stuff. That was
The place to go. And,
Oh, yeah.
Special things.
It was a
happened
really good
there.
restaurant too. For years after the Cherokee Club closed, there was a great restaurant in there. And of course, I don't think it took up the whole place. Maybe the bordello was upstairs or something.
Right.
But yes, I mean, all the governors. A lot of times we'd have the Gasparilla Parade, and it would start in Ybor and end all the way over at the fairgrounds and everything.
Yes.
The old
Yes.
Right, the old fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And so they would start by having a big lunch at El Pasaje, and then they would all get into the cars and roll, roll in.
interesting.
But by then
that-
they'd have, the proprietor of the restaurant would be like, "I'm so sorry, this is a rushed meal." It'd be like a 2-hour meal.
wow.
But I'd be
Rushed
like, "This is real rushed." But when the Cuban ambassador came, I think it was 1906, 1908, and he'd go to El Pasaya every day, 3-4 hours, just eating, drinking, all the best stuff.
Eating, drinking, and whatever.
The place to be seen.
Hey,
and
Rose,
not be
can we
seen.
get your bolita number?
yeah, mine is 27 and Deb's is 17.
Okay.
Some things never change.
Well,
Thanks, Rose. We love you.
Great,
last Saturday.
great call, Rose.
Oh, well,
Great
fun.
time.
We had a
Thanks.
fun
It was
time,
great
too.
seeing you as well.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
She
Great
was
call.
there on Saturday at Amarelli's
Yeah.
Sandwiches and More. We had a picture early on. I don't know if we've already shown it. Maybe while we're sitting here taking our next call, we can go to that picture. I believe it was a picture of Al Lopez in the car. Maybe we haven't gotten to it yet, and I think it was during the set up for the Gasparilla Parade. It looked like it was
Alcalde?
starting. No, not the Alcalde. Wasn't it Al Lopez that was in the car? It was like a 1950s.
No, I
40s.
thought that was supposed to be.
There was the Alcalde from Ybor City. That was at the fairgrounds. That was in the fairgrounds.
car.
There's another picture there. Maybe we just haven't gotten to it yet. We'll come to it in a minute. That's Paso Grill Beach, guys, back in
That's
the
our
day.
favorite beach.
Paso Grill Beach. Look at those men in their bathing suits. They're wearing those black
All the same
unitards,
colors.
Yeah.
man. Black unitards.
Women
Darling,
in dresses.
keep an eye on the clock while we go to our next caller.
Yes.
Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
It's Tom from New York. How are
Hey,
you?
there's our Tom from New
He's
York,
a Northeast correspondent.
our Northeast
Hey,
correspondent.
Steve, welcome, Andy. How you doing?
Thank you, very well.
Now, here's another example of someone who's from New York, lives in New York, and is fascinated with Tampa's history,
Okay, wow.
like we were saying at the beginning of the show. Tom, what do you have to say for yourself?
I'm going to try to make it short to leave all the time for those deep Tampa natives. This is another show that just drew me in, and Andy, you said something about food, and I've lived in a lot of different places, and it is probably the food that really interests me the most. I gotta try the food. I gotta try the food.
You
I
gotta
gotta try the food.
Yeah.
And that was a great subject to pull people in. I don't think I've ever met anybody from a history library, but that was an ingenious idea to pull people in, and you got my attention.
Well, my father grew up in Clearwater. I mean, grew up in Chicago, sorry. He's hardly spent any time in Clearwater. But he grew up in Chicago, loved all the food up there. He came down here and just fell in love with the black beans, everything. And loved the Columbia restaurant and everything. And he passed away in 2004. But I managed to go up to see him like a couple days before he died. And it was right after I talked to Richard and Melanie Gonsmart about helping them do in their book. So I was able to say,
tell them that,
I was like, Dad,
Oh.
I'm working for the Columbia restaurant, man. I'm going to help them write their history.
Oh, wow.
And he was, as much pain as he was in, and made him
Brought a
real
smile to
happy.
his face.
Yeah, he was real happy. So
oh my God.
that was great. I only wish he could, could have stuck around a little longer to see it come out. But
That's very nice.
yeah.
Tommy, can we get your bolita number for tonight?
42, brother.
42 it is. Tom is our Northeast correspondent. He calls every week. His calls are always so relevant and so timely. And we appreciate you, my brother.
Yes,
Thanks
we
for
do,
being
Tom.
there.
Good to hear from you, Tom.
All right,
likes to
take
cook,
care.
too.
Salute.
Salute and happy days.
Happy
We'll do it in
days.
just a couple of minutes.
And he's very
All right.
lucky.
And listen, Tom, tonight, when we do it here in studio, you do it with us at home, okay?
Absolutely.
When we sign off, you sign off from home.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother.
We're
Take
gonna trust
care.
you.
Tom,
All right.
Bye-bye.
it's past
I know.
the
Oh,
it is.
15-minute
I know.
mark.
We'll wait a couple more
gentlemen.
minutes in case we get one or two more callers to get a couple more bolita numbers, and then we'll go to our bolita drawing. I just wanted to say real
It's
quick.
going fast.
I know. I just want to say real quick, Andy, ingenious, although I'm sure you're not the first person to think about it, but it is something that, if you think about it, as Tom had alluded to, food, you can track almost any people's history through the food they've eaten. And archaeologists even use that because when they
Right.
go through a dig and they
Yeah.
find human remains
Right.
and they get to the stomach portion, if they're lucky enough to figure out what was in their stomach at the time that they died,
Oh, sure.
they're able to figure out, were these people vegetarian?
Yeah.
What would they,
Well, they can even take bone and teeth samples.
that's
Yeah.
true, DNA now,
Yeah.
you're exactly
Yeah.
right.
But I mean, I think the food is like the social and cultural DNA.
It's
of
the
the
soul.
community.
It's
Yeah,
the soul.
it really is. I
Yeah.
mean,
Good
it
way
tells
to
you
put it.
about geography, about social habits.
Social,
everything.
yeah, social, yep. So I just think that if you can continue to do that, my brother, you're going to have a very
yeah.
fulfilling career because there's so much here, man.
Well, the next book is a history of Tampa as told through its food.
Excellent.
awesome.
Excellent. And we want to be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Fran Costantino calling in to say hello to all of y'all.
Hi, Fran. How are you?
Fran Constantino.
Great. I want to say hello to Andy and thank
Hello,
him for
Fran.
helping us with all the homework that we always call and I bug him for.
Of course.
Nice seeing you, Andy. Thank you.
Good to hear from you.
Franny, where was that building that we were trying to figure out, the Ice Works building that's still there in Ybor?
Oh, you would love
brewery.
to take a tour of that.
would.
It's the Swope Rodanti Law Firm, owned by Dale Swope, who was president at one time of the Ybor City Museum Society. And we took a tour of that building. He has spent millions remodeling. and you've got to take a tour. He is so proud of what he has done. It is absolutely awesome.
Will he allow
We've
us
gotta
to come
do
in
that.
maybe with our video camera? Just
Oh, no doubt.
Okay,
That'd be
good.
great.
Well,
Good.
friend,
No doubt. And then the restaurant at El Pasaje, I think was Selena's.
Oh,
It was
really?
Mama Selena Davanza's, was named after her, and they had all the New Orleans cuisine,
Yeah.
and that was at El Pasaje.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Well, we're.
oh, go ahead. Well,
No.
Fran, you there?
It's okay. I just wanted to tell you all it's a great, great show. Enjoying the history, and Andy, nice seeing you.
Oh, good to hear from you.
Hopefully, we'll have many more shows like this.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, yes, I
wonderful.
look
This
forward
is
to it.
really enjoyable. When it sticks to the history, we're glued to the TV.
Yes. Good.
Thank you.
Well,
Great
good.
pictures as well, Steve.
Fran, a quick question, or not a question, but a statement. But Cookie Rodante Spoto, that is
Her daughter,
the daughter, right?
Angela, is joined the firm. It used to be just the Swope. It used to be just the Swope law firm, and then Angela Rodanti joined in and became a partner. So it's Swope Rodanti, and I even think Shanti joined. I think is also a partner in that law firm, but he's also in the service and goes back and forth to Afghanistan.
Okay.
So yeah, no, it's really, really cool, and
we're
y'all
gonna
have
take-
a
we're gonna
great
take
show
that
going.
tour
I
and-
just want to thank y'all.
Thank you, Franny.
Thanks
We're going
for
to take that
calling.
tour on your recommendation, certainly.
I already
Steve,
put your
I'll
number
call
down.
him for you, and we'll set that up. Cookie will make that happen.
Yeah,
it's
please do.
wonderful.
please do. Thank you, Fran. Thank you so much.
All righty, my number is 69.
I already
We
got it,
you.
Mama.
Thank you, Fran.
I beat Kiki this time. Y'all have a great night, guys.
All right, thank you. You did. We got about 6 minutes to go, so we'll go ahead and get to our bolita drawing now. Let's give away, Stevie, let's give away this Caracolillo coffee from another wonderful Tampa business, original Tampa business, Tampa native business, Caracolillo Coffee Mills, right there on Hesperdes, right by the airport. And we'll give that away.
Delicious
And you know what?
coffee.
We'll give away these two hats, too. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're not going to give away this
No,
light.
we're not.
That's never going to
That's
happen.
ours.
And just in case you think this is the only time you're going to see Andy on the show, think
No.
again, because we got him to sign our talent release for the whole season. So that means one
got
thing
to
and
now.
one thing only. He's going to be back for sure.
Oh yeah,
So
I got
Give
some
us
great
some tea
pictures
plates.
to
Shake,
share.
Oh, can't
shake
wait.
that
We can't
up,
wait.
Stevie, and we'll go ahead and pull
We'll let
out
Andy
a number.
pull.
Darling, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yep, let our guest pull for sure.
Andy,
and we'll
Give me
go
the
ahead.
number.
We'll go ahead and give the coffee away first. How's that?
Did you ever think you'd be part of a bolita drawing?
Oh, I couldn't wait. I
Get
couldn't
in there,
wait.
get in there.
Finally.
Get in
Grab
there,
one up.
son.
All right, this is the one that's been weighed down with lead in the middle.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. 51.
51.
Closest to without going over, by the way.
43.
40
Hugh Perret.
Hugh Perret. Hugh
Another
Perret.
lucky
Perret,
winner.
I don't
Is
know
the-
how you do
Oh,
it,
take
but
that
you
one.
always
Win, partner.
Oh,
You call in and you
always.
always win. We got to get
forget
that Caracolillo coffee to you.
Let's not forget
We got
this.
about 5
Oh, that too.
minutes to
We
go.
got the parachute.
Yeah, as soon
Oh
as
my
you're done-
goodness!
as
Oh
soon
my
as you're done
goodness!
with that, yeah.
All right,
finish.
let's
Yeah, yeah.
quickly
Okay, one more.
pull another one
Okay.
real quick.
There we go. 74.
74.
69.
Fran Costantino.
Fran, we got you. Fran, there's your hat. We won. Franny, we won. We'll bring that to you. USF Tampa Bay Rays. Come to the game with us, Franny.
Just under the wire.
One more to go.
One more, yeah.
All right, one more. 65.
65.
That would've been Fran again.
That would be Mike Padrinin, another winner.
Big Mike
often.
We can't
Padrini
go
all
over.
the way
With
from Orlando.
63.
Now, we have to do this before we get off the air. If you'll reach over there and pick that up.
Oh,
if you
yes.
can bring that.
let's talk
This
about
is
this.
for you, Ronnie Fernandez.
Oh,
Ronnie,
yeah,
we
check
talked
this out.
today. This is a, well, go ahead and tell us a little bit about this, Andy.
This is a game of chance. This is something that we had in the library. Was donated by Tony Pizzo.
There you go.
He donated just a treasure trove of stuff.
Bring it into the camera range and spin that
okay.
thing around so they can see
All right,
those
next
numbers.
time we'll do the drawing this
Oh,
way.
we should have done
we
this.
should- we
Uh,
should.
Next time we
1
will.
through 20. Yep.
Wow.
So you can see there, and basically you can see on the inside, it's made out of an old bike tire. See the spokes
Yeah.
there?
That's incredible.
So, and then they just got the bolts sticking out here.
bolts,
And,
regular bolts?
Yeah, it's really low tech, but
Hand painted.
Yep, and I remember reading about something just like this, where kind of a peddler guy took it out. It was New Year's Day, 1903. He brought it out on the street. He had some chickens with him, and everybody got to spin to
Win a
chance to win a
chicken?
chicken. So some guy wins the chicken, and he's like, double or nothing. The guy with the wheel, he's like, spin again. You know, and the guy's like, all right, what the hell? I'll take a chance. He wins a second chicken.
Oh my
so then he's
God.
like, wait, I have a goat. We can figure something out. And the guy's like, no, I'm taking my chickens and going home. He walked away, and the peddler had
that-
to take his
what a
wheel and
great
go home.
Take his
story.
winnings.
That is an
That's
amazing
funny.
story.
Yeah.
Funny.
Ronnie wants to tell us that in Spanish this was known as a paraguas because it looks sort of like an umbrella, but
Yeah.
in English we think the best name for it was a game of chance. And I'm guessing, I'm just guessing that they probably had, if this was in the speakeasies during those times, they probably had something retrofit that they could put over the top of it to make it look sort of like a lampshade to cover it when the authorities came in. And then it just looked like a normal lampshade. But isn't that cool? And what an ingenious way. You know, you had the vertical roulette wheel, you had the horizontal roulette wheel.
I like this one.
And this
really
lampshade that kind of spins around. Next time Andy's here, we're going to do the bolita drawing using that lampshade. And I'm so glad we had it just off camera. I completely forgot. And Andy said, hey, we got to talk about the lamp. Don't forget. Yeah, don't forget about the game.
We have a caller on line 3. Do we have time?
Game of chance. No times tonight. No time for. But listen, thank you to all of our callers that did call in. Andy, like I said, has promised he's going to be here again. Look at that. That's a bowling alley. If you could just take us out for just about 10 seconds.
2 minutes.
This, we think, is in the bottom of the Círculo Cubano. Yep. Because at one point there was a bowling alley. At one point there was a swimming pool. Oh, yeah. The photograph is low. It's tough imaging, little bit of a tough imaging. Hasn't aged well at all. But look at that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, those are probably duck pins because they look like smaller pins and smaller balls. And that's something that came from up north because it's not the standard size balls. It's the small ones. It takes 3 of them to knock down the 10 little duck pins. But how about that? In the lower section, which is today the cantina, if you went to the Cuban Club today, the lower floor, that's what it looked like probably in the 1920s? Probably. 10s and 20s? Yeah. Hey, don't forget to visit our website, everybody, TampaNativeShow.com for replays of this show as well as to get any and all information about us. How much time do we got, guys? Don't let me go over.
It was 2 minutes, about 30 minutes.
Oh, we got a minute and 10 seconds.
Okay,
just make sure you count me down. Please also check out our sponsors. Click on their sponsors' logos and visit their particular websites as well because our sponsors are very generous to us.
And their establishments.
And if you get a chance, heck, man, go down there and say hello to them and tell them you're with the Tampa Natives Show. Yeah. They're liable to give you a table up there close to the front.
And don't forget the fan comment section too. Our IT department put that in recently. So
next week,
leave us some comments.
Don't forget to tune in next week when we're going to have Stephanie Argudo McKenzie, and she's going to be talking to us all about her father's company and the legacy of the Chiefless company that was born right here in Tampa, Florida. Big Mike's going to call in as well from Orlando. Andy, thanks so much.
Yes,
thanks for having us.
Look at how fast it went, man. We could do another hour because we have all those pictures, but
and we should.
We will.
Yeah.
And we certainly will. Here's Andy's website. It's www.lib.usf.edu. We got 30 seconds.
From there, look for the coral, right?
Yeah, coral. If you go into the special collections, it's up in the top right corner. Then you can go to coral, and there's our digital collections. Perfect. You can search for images or whatever you like.
To Todd Chavez and to Mark Greenberg out there watching, thank you so much for the generous offer of partnership to work with us here. The relationship that we're excited to be a part of the family, as they say. On behalf of the Tampa Natives Show, on behalf of Andy Huse, Steve Canella, the 15-minute girl, Marty Nunez, do it with me, guys. Salute and happy days. We love you.
Back when we were younger and everything seemed new, we used to have a lot of fun, yes we did, no matter what we do. Sleepy days, long summer nights, going anywhere we please, with love that I could call my own, love that I've always known, the city that I call my home, a home from which I never roam. This love affair was meant to be. I love her and she loves me. I remember Tampa, oh, she remembers me. She remembers me. I remember, yeah, yes I do. Oh, I remember, yeah, me and you. I'm a Tampa native, Tampa native, can't you see? I will share my story with you to preserve its history.
Don't forget, Thursdays, 7 p.m. on TBCN, home of the Tampa Natives Show.